Suicide Sue had suffered from depression for most of her adult life. In 1992, she took 20 hay fever pills and waited for the end, but she just ended up with a very clear nose. Some years later, she went to the library, and whilst looking for a book about JavaScript, she told the librarian that she was feeling very down. The librarian was very progressive. He listened to her carefully and thought for a moment. Then he handed her a laptop and told her that there were many people who felt the same way as her and shared her interests. Finding them would make her feel less lonely. But Suicide Sue didn't believe in the internet. She didn't like the constant bombardment of information, telling her to eat ice cream or that it was World Superhero Day. However, she was to find out the joys of user-generated content, a network of resources made by and for normal people. This is the story of Suicide Sue and her week of wonders. Suicide Sue was a hopeless romantic, and her favourite book was Dr. Zhivago. She searched for Dr. Zhivago audiobook online, and she found a website called LibriVox. This is a website where users can record themselves.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. Today's reading is by Arnold Morris. Dr. Zhivago by Boris Pasternak. Part 1. Chapter 1. The 5 o'clock express. On they went, singing eternal memory, and whenever they stopped, the sound of their feet, the horses, and the gusts of wind seemed to carry on their singing. Passers-by made way for the procession, counted the wreaths and crossed themselves. Some joined in out of curiosity and asked, "Who is being buried?" "Zhivago," they were told.
It was exciting to hear her favourite love story again, read by such a rich and soothing voice. She felt a bubble of hope fizz about in the pit of her stomach. Suicide Sue had always considered herself a strong feminist, and she also considered herself a strong fan of science fiction. She wondered if these two movements had ever crossed paths, so she performed an internet search and came across Ellen Thornton's feminist sci-fi video blog.
Ellen Thornton, writer, critic, amateur geologist, provocateur, feminist.
We'll be travelling to other worlds we'd never thought possible. Parallel universes and alien planets. The outrageously bizarre, but also the strangely familiar. We'll be exploring time, space, and even our own minds. Welcome to Ellen Thornton's feminist sci-fi video blog. And because this week we're going to be exploring feminist sci-fi's separatist utopias. My top 3 feminist sci-fi feminist sci-fi separatist utopias. So in at number 3 is Penelope Granger's Ionia's Garden. So men have been wiped out because there's a virus that affects only the Y chromosome. So the women have learnt to reproduce asexually, like slugs, and they slither about and they stroke each other and they have ceremonies. Next one, in at number 2, is Cybernopolis. The women have finally realised that periods aren't natural, but it's a conspiracy to stop women, stop them going swimming. And so they all live in a flat that's covered in tinfoil. So that protects them from menstruation control. At number 1, it's got to be Jonathan Crabtree and her wonderful utopia where there's no pornography. So on the planet Inabit, planet's called Inabit, that child minding is respected in a way that it's not here. People are frustrated sexually. There are booths woman pretending to be a man to be an author, but she's actually female. Jonathan Crabtree is actually a very interesting author because she was actually raised in the forest, not by wolves, but her parents were anthropologists. Not a man. She's not a man. She's a woman. But then she was a man. She writes very convincingly as a man. I've been Ellen Thornton, and I hope you've enjoyed my feminist sci-fi video blog. Please join me next week, where we'll be looking at feminist dystopias, and we'll visit a world where pregnancy has been privatised and babies are born indebted to their mother for the rent of their womb.
She really respected Ellen's passion and looked forward to looking up the books that Ellen had talked about. Maybe she could even record them and upload them to LibriVox. On the next day, Suicide Sue's optimism waned. Was feminist science fiction just for losers? She decided to look at videos of animals because that would cheer her up. She became mesmerised by a particularly entrancing seal from the North Norfolk coast. She wasn't sure if she wanted to cuddle the seal, or to be the seal, or if there was a sexual undertone to it, but it certainly felt good. On Thursday, the feelings of futility and bleakness returned. She searched for a song called Bored by My Desire by the Cathode Rays. As she listened, she felt a catharsis of her alienated confusion. The music made her feel very excited, and she imagined how great it would feel to be a performer.
To love. I'm too bored to work, and I'm too bored to take a bus. I'm too bored to drive on the autobahn. I'm too bored to cook you dinner. I'm too bored to go catch a movie. And I'm too bored to go for a swim in the local swimming bath.
On Friday, she remembered her favourite TV show, a BBC documentary called Around the World in 80 Cosmic Crystals, which was presented by a charismatic man called Hugh Taylor-Gray. She found out that someone had made a video for the theme tune of Around the World in 80 Cosmic Crystals, using scenes from a Tai Chi workout and retro video games. It made her feel very spiritual. she felt her plane of perception open up and offer new dimensions and possibilities. She now knew that through the medium of web-based, user-generated content, she would be empowered to express herself creatively, and she could share her ideas in cyberspace. She wanted to thank the Progressive Librarian for her week of wonders.